guys, we got some news for you today in Raid Shadow Legends. Welcome to the video. Send us some love, some positive vibes your way, especially if you need it out there today. So 2 bits of news today. 1 having to do with arena fairness, I would say. And 2 having to do with this Summon Rush event as part of the Crocod, the Throat Rippers fragment event. Are you guys going for this fragment, man? The dev server, the test server stuff on this dude looks insane. If you have Shayek, even in other areas outside of Hydra in the game, just some insane damage. So I am absolutely going for him, and I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on him. Anyway, we have, whether or not you're going for the Fragment Summon, we do have the Summon Rush event champions. This kicks off on August 1st, so that is tomorrow, Friday, from the time of this recording. Let's take a look at the champions here. So we have this Friday, August 1st, we're planning to launch a Progressive Chance event, giving you a 15x to summon the champions from your choice from the selected pool of Ancient, Primal, Sacred, and Void Shards. I would never open a Primal personally for events like this. So here's the champions that we have. I'm going to go through and I'm going to quickly grade them all and tell you who I'm going to be going for out of this bunch, or who I would go for as well if I didn't have any of these champions. So we have Elva. Elva's so freaking good. If you don't have Elva, she might be the one to go for here. Of course, keep in mind this is not a 2x event. It's a 15x progressive chance event, so odds are you're probably not going to pull a legendary, and even if you do, odds are it's still way more likely to be a different legendary than the one that you're going for. Just know what you're getting into before you summon. Elva, with all that said, is amazing. She's fast, 110 base speed. She's got a nice continuous heal on her A1, which does come in handy. She has a full cleanse, block debuff, increased speed, and a 3-turn cooldown. It's really one of the better cleanses out there in the game. She has a great 3-turn single target revive. Those 3-turn revives is no Lady Noelle on an AoE, but it's still very, very good with that short cooldown. And she has that great heal on her passive, similar to Soul the Drake, similar to a Cphy. Perfect Veil for 1 turn on the ally with the lowest HP at the end of this champion's turn is a very underrated part of her kit as well. You add in on top of all that speed in all battles, yeah, to me she's A+, A+ champion overall. One of the better ones here on the list. We have a new champion, Praa the Slitherer. Slitherer. So who do you think is going to be a Slitherer? Well, of course, it's a Demon Spawn champion. So here it is, Praa, we'll call her. Slitherer is doesn't really roll off the tongue. Another fast champion, 110 base speed. Champion with speed in all battles by 20%. On her A1, she's going to transfer debuffs. This champion to the target. Can't be resisted if this champion's under 3 or more debuffs. Really nice ability on the A1. Then she has an AoE heal, an increased defense, and an increased speed. Similar to, but I would argue not quite as powerful, but different, to be fair, than the A2 of an Elva. And then on the A3, she has a single target revive on a 4-turn cooldown, but with 100% turn meter, and fully resets the cooldown of all of their skills. Of course, Godseeker, Aniri, White Queen, and Korra type ability, which are very hard to find on revives in this game. And then Sacrificial Servant at the end of this champion's turn transfers a debuff from each ally to this champion. So this happens at the end of this champion's turn. It won't transfer CC debuffs though. Ooh, it's kind of, again, has some echoes of White Queen and Korra, but I don't like it just as much, but it's still a nifty little passive to have there, right? So 1 debuff from each ally to this champion. She'll soak them all up, right? At the end of this champion's turn, fills the turn meter of all allies by 10%, an additional 2% for each debuff on this champion. So sort of like a creep passive from Rocka Viletide and the Orcs, a Void legendary Orc, with a turn meter fill at the end of this champion's turn, or the start of this champion's turn, either way, vis-a-vis the passive. But that turn meter fill is cool, and I like the additional turn meter for each debuff on this champion. Of course, you can only get 1 from each ally, though, so, but, you know, it's still significant. You could probably get it up to a 20% turn meter boost every time off the passive, you know, potentially. So I would give her an A, maybe an A+ as well. Very solid champion, of course, but just not, I don't think she's like an S tier, but very good. Glaciad, I mean, these are some really good freaking revivers here. You don't need me to tell you that. Glaciad, man, he might be one of the best out of the 3 so far, but it's very hard to compare. They're all quite different. They all have a unique offering, which is really cool. So depending on what you need, who you need, a reviver in terms of factions or in terms of areas of the game will dictate maybe who you go for if you are inclined to summon here, if you're going for the Fragment Summon. Glaciad is so good, particularly in Hydra, but really almost everywhere in the game. Of course, as a reviver for the Sylvan Watchers, he's the best by far. He has speed in all battles on the aura. On his A1, he has a freeze on the A2, increase attack, perfect veil, turn meter fill on a 4-turn cooldown. Similar to a Duchess, but no block debuffs. Instead, he brings the turn meter fill on that A2. On the A3, the cool thing is AoE revive on a 4-turn cooldown, and you can use it without the revive, okay? You don't have to revive one of those skills, right? Kind of like Ursula the Mourner's A3. A revive, 40% HP, 25% turn meter, fairly weak in terms of the turn meter and the HP, but we get increased accuracy, increased defense for 3 turns. 3-turn duration on a 4-turn cooldown. Beautiful. Lasting gives us a great mastery as well for him to possibly get a 4-turn duration on those buffs. So bringing 2 of those really nice buffs to the table is very, very strong. And then the Thaw Might really puts him over the top in terms of these prolonged battles, the utility that he brings. Allies under Perfect Veil placed by this champion deal 10% more damage. Super solid. It's like a 9-piece protection built in with a couple buffs. He has the Perfect Veil, of course, on his A2 as well. So just a really, really strong passive. They also deal an additional 10% damage to enemies under Veil or Perfect Veil buffs. So really strong champion. Very fast. The fastest that we've spoken about so far at 112 base speed. Nice and tanky. 21k on the HP. 1300 on the defense. Almost 1400. Very, very solid champion. A+. Pythion and Duchess. Oh my word. This is like Reviver. I don't know. Reviver heaven here. Really quickly. Duchess, you're probably familiar with her, but yeah, she's got the shield on the A1. She's got the block debuffs to increase attack, the Perfect Veil on the A2, very similar to Glaciad's, minus the turn meter plus the block debuffs. And then we have that nice revive. No turn meter, but 70% HP, as well as a Veil and continuous heal on all allies. And then the Ethereal Ways gives damage mitigation. Again, A+ tier. If you're lucky enough to happen to have your hands on Volcanos, but you don't have Duchess, she might be the one to go for it here. So you can have 2 strong demon spawn options. Carnage is another one there. My favorite combos. I have a Volcanos video going live on my main channel in a couple days. He's been insane for my account. Insane. Pythion, another beast reviver. I don't think that Pythion gets the love that he deserves because he was a fusion. And sometimes I don't know, I feel like fusions can be underrated a little bit, right? He's got a beautiful A2 with a heal, block debuffs, and a cleanse on a 3-turn cooldown. That's really hard to find all 3 of those. You'd have to look at, like, there's a few that have it, but it's more of a it's really one of the best versions of a cleanse, right? It's like a Star Sage Galathier type ability, right? Granted, Star Sage also has a little turn meter fill on his A2, but still, it's very good. And then we have the Revive, the AoE Revive 50-50, not bad. Strengthen as well on a 4-turn cooldown, and the Overlay, similar to the Ethereal Ways of Duchess on her passive. Allies receive 5% less damage from skills for each buff placed on them. Stacks up to 25%. That's really nice damage mitigation as well. Not very hard to get 5 buffs on your allies. Even 4 or 3 is still, a strength and worth, give or take, of damage mitigation just built into his passive. Very, very good and tanky. Force Affinity Reviver. Then we have Senna, we have Cphy, and we have Rocka. Well, I just mentioned a bunch of these champions, or I just mentioned Rocka at least. Cphy, still a beast. She's still one of the best revivers in the game, even though she has a lot of hard counters right now, to be fair, in at least the endgame arena, right? Specifically, Volcanos, and really specifically Nell can absolutely decimate her. So she's really gone from a top 3 PvP champion to, at least in live arena where you can counter, probably just borderline top 10 right now. That, to me, though, although that's real, to me, she's also still insane. I still use her all over the place, from Sand Devil to, anywhere I need. One of the best tanks in the game, and I still use her in the arena specifically to counter Marius, right? I run her in a 9-piece protection, and I run her pretty fast. That way I can go in there and get the protected increase defense, the block debuffs to mitigate the A2 of a Marius, for example. It's not a hard counter, certainly, but it's one of the best things you can do with a 9-piece protection. She also has a great revive and a great heal on the passive, similar to Elva. She has the cleanse off Rhodos, the chance of removing fear, freeze, true fear from each ally at the start of their turn, makes for a great response to a Fabian as well inside the arena. So overall, S-tier champion. To me, she's a true S-tier, still to this day. Senna Amberheart. She's an S tier champion too. In different ways. She's very fast, 113. Cphy was 114, so some of the fastest champions in the game. Senna is arguably the best champion when you don't factor in trials for Chimera Clan Boss. I run her on my main team. She's irreplaceable for me. I think she's irreplaceable because I need the revive. I was going to say, I guess you can get a little bit of maybe a weak version of her would be like Operative Clanfather's passive, but no, it's not the same, unfortunately. Senna is a different level. She's insane. She's got instant activation of continuous heals on her A1, which comes into play when we look at the rest of her kit. She's got an increased speed, continuous heal on all allies. Actually, 2 continuous heals on all allies. This gives 3 buffs on a 3-turn cooldown with a turn meter fill of 20%. What does that scream at you? 9-piece protection. When you're getting 3 buffs on a 3-turn cooldown, that is 9-piece protection territory. That can be 15% extra damage vis-a-vis the 9-piece protection, 9-piece bonus, right? Let alone outside of that, she's bringing a lot of heals and the increased speed, one of the most essential buffs in the game, along with a juicy 20% turn meter fill on a 3-turn cooldown. Then she has an AoE revive. Revived allies will join in to attack whoever killed them. Oh, no, actually, my bad. The enemy with the lowest HP, right? And then whenever a continuous, this is what makes her so magical, the passive, right? Healing Glow. Whenever a continuous heal buff activates on an ally, fills the turn meter of all allies by 5%. At the end of the champion's turn, increases the duration of a continuous heal on a random ally except this champion for 1 turn. She brings speed in all battles as well. So over the duration of longer battles like Chimera, so much turn meter fill, right? You have 5 allies. They're all getting multiple continuous heal ticks. Even her A1 is instantly activating continuous heals. You're just getting so much turn meter fill. One of the best turn meter increase champions out there in the game, excuse me. Getting choked up talking about Senna. All right, last, Rocka Abilities. Listen, we have a stark lack of solid revivers in Orcs faction, right? I mean, I'm sure I'm going to miss somebody here, but like, who do we have other than her? We have Tagore, Jorg. Jorg is a revive too. Tagore is an AoE revive. But other than that, that's all we have. That's all we have. So, Rocka, she's a great champion, especially in Orcs Faction Wars, but she's not essential because I feel like you can absolutely get by without Rocka, even in Faction Wars Hard all the way through Stage 21, with just Tagore, because he's that good. That being said, she's still solid. She's got that creep passive. We already talked about it. At the start of each turn, not the end. Fills turn meter of all allies by 10% at the start of each turn. Plays a continuous heal buff on the ally with lowest HP for 2 turns, okay? This is on a 2-turn cooldown on the passive effect. It's not bad. It's a turn meter fill for a champion who otherwise does not have turn meter fill in her kit. She has a heal on the ally with lowest HP on her A1. She's got a cleanse, increase attack, and a shield on a 3-turn cooldown. Definitely can come in handy in Faction Wars and restrictive content in waves and progression as well. And then she has an AoE revive, 50%, 50%, a block debuffs, and like some of the other abilities we talked about today, namely Glaciad of the Meltwater, Plasm Rebirth will work again even without the revive. So you got to be careful because obviously that can backfire if you need it. I know in Faction Wars Hard I was using Rocka, and sometimes I would use the block debuffs and be like, crap, somebody's dead 2 turns later. It's a 4-turn cooldown. I'm screwed. All that being said, with the speed or all battles, I think she's an underrated reviver. I think she's a competent reviver, but I call her A tier, not S tier like some of the other champions we spoke about, specifically Cphy and Senna. Okay, so let's grade them all. I think I already graded everybody here, right? Pythion, I give A. Duchess, I give A. Glaciad, A+. Praa, A. Elva, A+, borderline S tier, okay? Then we have Rector, Ugo, Tagore, Godseeker, and Ursula. I'm going to go rapid fire on the epics, but on the legendaries, I have everybody except for Praa on my account, so I'm going to go for Praa just because I want to have the gotta collect them all thing, right? Out of the non-voids, assuming I didn't have anybody at all, and I didn't, like, in a vacuum, which nobody plays in a vacuum, but assuming it was, I think I would choose Elva, personally. But you can really make a case for everybody on this list. I personally think that Elva is the one I would go for, though. And then we have Senna, Cphy, and Rocka. I would probably go Senna if you're looking for a beast in Chimera and support everywhere in the game. If you're looking for more PvP, even though I talked about all her counters, I would go for Cphy, right? it feels weird to not choose Cphy, but Senna is so good, specifically in the newer content in the game, that I think it's kind of a coin flip there. All right, out of these epics, I'm actually not going to go through all their kits. Rector Droth is a great reviver. Ugo is, I mean, these are honestly some of the best epics in the game. I would go Godseeker over Ursula, even though Ursula has one of the best revives in the game, but Godseeker has one of the most unique revives in the game as well. Ursula, though, check this out. 75% HP, 50% turn meter, increased defense, strength, and 5-turn cooldown. That's very good. It's better survivability than any legendary in the game, right? Godseeker and Neri, though, she's still very, very good. Heals and fail-safe revive on her passive. I would go Godseeker personally. Tagore, Ugo, and Retrodrath. Those are all like free login champions. It depends on what you need. I would go Rector Droth. If you need a perfect Veil champion or a Veil healer, I would go Rector Droth. If you need a Hydra specialist and overall one of the most competent, if not the best, along with like Stag Knight and Deacon, decreased defense champions out of any epic in the game, go Ugo. Ugo is a champion that even endgame players, even whales, even spenders use a lot of. Probably gets some of the most action from spenders in this game, versus many other epics out there, along with like Seer and stuff like that, right? Tagore. I would go Tagore. I'm the number one Tagore fan out there. I think he's an absolute beast. All right, what do we have here about the arena changes? Also, we received lots and lots of feedback regarding powerful clans, aka endgame clans, teaming up against players in Classic Arena Platinum tier. So already out the gate, this affects probably 1% of the audience watching. And while this tactic is totally understandable, so basically at the end of the season, you kind of have an alliance where you don't attack your own clan members. And keep in mind, a lot of these clans are clan families. There's a lot of clans. So like if I'm a member of Mad, I'm not attacking Mad, etc. So you end up, based on your strength in numbers, you can team up on other people, especially folks that are not a part of a top clan but still want to push. You end up just getting absolutely slaughtered, right? So that's what they're referring to. I don't mean to point out Mad. I'm sure every single clan does it. It's kind of smart to do. Like, why would you attack your own clanmates? A lot of people think that you shouldn't even be able to match against your own clanmates in Arena. I don't know about you guys, but I've gone against my own clanmates in live Arena, and I felt like bad about it, right? Like, awkward thing, like, should I say something in the clan chat? Like, GG's? I don't know. I do. I'm like, good game. We want to ensure the Platinum tier remains fair and open challenge. I hate to be a hater here, but like it doesn't feel like the game is fairness and openness does not feel, in terms of the competitive aspect of the game, does not feel like the ethos of Raid, but whatever. Thus, Shadow Phase will be introduced in the new update. It doesn't even, like, just to go on about the fairness, I don't want to just say a takeaway, rant and not expound a little bit, but like there's so many things like, what about 18 people sharing one account in live Arena? They don't care about that. That's fair to them. That's fair to have an account running 24 hours a day, but not attacking your clanmates is not fair, I don't feel like I'm not losing sleep over Raid Shadow Legends fairness, to be totally honest with you guys. But like, it strikes me as like, okay, but that's just one thing. Like, what about having to punt your score in Siege to get a better matchup because you're getting pummeled in matchups? So the only way to combat the matchup system is to purposely lose and lose badly. Like, it doesn't really feel like, and hey, listen, you got to start somewhere. So if they're going to start addressing this stuff, credit to them, I guess, right? I don't want to just sit here and complain when they finally do something, right? Anyway. Okay, so what is the Shadow Phase? It will be activated bi-weekly on Monday at 0 UTC and last for 8 hours before the arena reset. All information about your opponents in the Platinum tier will be concealed for the duration of the Shadow Phase. No usernames, no clan tags to identify the owner of the team you're about to fight. This way, it will all be your personal arena setup. It will up your personal arena setup rather than the membership in the specific clan's team. Okay. I don't know. Maybe I'm just super cynical here, but don't you guys feel like they can still probably exploit that? Don't you think there's ways? Like, let's just say, hey, if you're a member of Mad, always put Marichka as your number one champion. I mean, all these players have every champion, right? For the most part. Always run UDK and don't attack UDK teams or something like that. Don't you think? Or how about this? How about, hey, every member of Madden, again, I'm just picking out a clan, feel free, right? Every member of the PL, right? The PL Star Clan. We're all going to put Life Harvest on our third champion. Mastery, because you can see masteries, right? We're all going to use Temporal Chains on our fourth champion in our defense, right? Don't you think there's so many ways that you can just easily get around the shadow phase? I don't know. And I'm like, this is just off the cuff. I'm sure there's better ways to do it too. We'll see, though. Hey, they're taking steps to institute some fairness. Let me know what you think about this, guys, in the comments below. And that's it for the news today. Thank you for watching. And as always, take care, guys.